What are the four learning styles? The four core learning styles in the VARK model include visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. While most of us may have some general idea about how we learn best, often it comes as a surprise when we discover what our predominant learning style is. Number 1. Visual learning. What is meant by visual learning? Visual learning is a type of learning style in which students prefer to use images, graphics, colors and maps to communicate ideas and thoughts. Visual learners must see information in order to learn it. What is an example of visual learning? They prefer looking at things to absorb information, rather than listening to it or using their hands. For example, a visual learner would learn to fix a car better if they watch an instructional video, rather than listening to an expert explain the process. Number 2. Auditory. If you are an auditory learner, you learn by hearing and listening. You understand and remember things you have heard. You store information by the way it sounds, and you have an easier time understanding spoken instructions than written ones. For an example, auditory learners may prefer reading aloud over silent reading, and quickly gain confidence in oral reading. However, remember to avoid pressuring children who aren't confident yet to read out loud. Number 3. Reading and writing. The reading-writing learner is sometimes thought of as a subtype of visual learner. These learners find writing, reading articles, and taking notes to be most helpful when learning. Read-write learning style is especially helpful in situations involving a lot of facts and data, including research, analysis, strategy and writing. Last one. Kinesthetic method. A kinesthetic tactile learning style requires that you manipulate or touch material to learn. Kinesthetic tactile techniques are used in combination with visual and/or auditory study techniques, producing multi-sensory learning. Kinesthetic learning happens when we have a hands-on experience. An example of a kinesthetic learning experience is when a child learns to use a swing or to ride a bike. They can read instructions or listen to instructions, but deep learning occurs via the process of doing.
Now let's talk about 5 types of note-taking methods. Note-taking forces you to pay attention and helps you focus in class. It helps you learn. Studies on learning have shown that actively engaging with the topic by listening and then summarizing what you hear helps you understand and remember the information later. Number 1. Cornell method. The Cornell method provides a systematic format for condensing and organizing notes without laborious recopying. After writing the notes in the main space, use the left-hand space to label each idea and detail with a keyword or cue. Rule your paper with a 2_inch margin on the left, leaving a 6-inch area on the right in which to make notes. During class, take down information in the 6-inch area. When the instructor moves to a new point, skip a few lines. After class, complete phrases and sentences as much as possible. For every significant bit of information, write a cue in the left margin. To review, cover your notes with a card, leaving the cues exposed. Say the cue out loud, then say as much as you can of the material underneath the card. When you have said as much as you can, move the card and see if what you said matches what is written. If you can say it, you know it. Number 2. Outline method. Dash or indented outlining is usually best except for some science classes, such as physics or math. Listening and then write in points in an organized pattern based on space indentation. Place major points farthest to the left. Indent each more specific point to the right. Levels of importance will be indicated by distance away from the major point. The indentation can be as simple as or as complex as labeling the indentions with Roman numerals or decimals. Markings are not necessary as space relationships will indicate the major/minor points. Number 3. Mapping method. Mapping is a method that uses comprehension/concentration skills and evolves in a note-taking form, which relates each fact or idea to every other fact or idea. Mapping is a graphic representation of the content of a lecture. It is a method that maximizes active participation, affords immediate knowledge as to its understanding, and emphasizes critical thinking. This format helps you to visually track your lecture regardless of conditions. Use when the lecture content is heavy and well organized. May also be used effectively when you have a guest lecturer and have no idea how the lecture is going to be presented. Number 4. Charting method. If the lecture format is distinct, you may set up your paper by drawing columns and labeling appropriate headings in a table. Determine the categories to be covered in lecture. Set up your paper in advance by columns headed by these categories. As you listen to the lecture, record information into the appropriate category. Use when test will focus on both facts and relationships. Contents is heavy and presented fast. You want to reduce the amount of time you spend editing and reviewing at test time. You want to get an overview of the whole course on one big paper sequence. Number 5 sentence method. Write every new thought, fact or topic on a separate line, numbering as you progress. Use when the lecture is somewhat organized, but heavy with content which comes fast. You can hear the different points, but you don't know how they fit together. The instructor tends to present in point fashion, but not in groupings such as 3 related points. Thanks for watching.